Hello everyone, welcome to my Luocha guide. Luocha is an imaginary abundance character and he is one of the best sustained characters in Honkai Star Rail. I'm a big fan of Luocha. He is an interesting character with tons of mysteries surrounding him. I've been using him ever since I pulled him back in version 1.1, and I don't regret that decision. He can cleanse debuffs, remove buffs from enemies and also use his skill without wasting skill points, which is something that most characters can't do. I will go over Luocha's kit and abilities, best light cones, relics, eidolons and teams, so let's get to it.
Remember your oath.
Luocha is a bit different from most abundance healer units because all of his abilities and even heals scale with his attack, and not HP. This can be both a good and a bad thing because this means he won't be completely useless when it comes to damage dealing, but at the same time this makes him a bit squishier than most abundance characters. I wouldn't say this is a big problem though, because I personally never experienced my Luocha getting one shot because of his lack of HP stats. Luocha's skill restores the target ally's HP and gives Luocha one stack of Abyss Flower. I'll explain his Abyss Flower mechanic a bit later. Luocha's heal scales with his attack. Additionally, when an ally's HP drops to 50% or lower, Luocha will automatically use his skill to heal them. This action does not consume any skill points and gives Luocha the same amount of energy as his normal skill usage does. This emergency healing can be triggered again after 2 turns. After unlocking Luocha's Ascension 2 trace, his skill will additionally remove 1 debuff from the target ally. His ult is an AoE imaginary damage attack which also removes 1 buff from all enemies. After using ult, Luocha also gains 1 stack of Abyss Flower. The damage on his ult isn't anything too crazy, but it doesn't matter because it's mainly used for the buff removal effect and to gain an Abyss Flower stack. Now I'll explain what his Abyss Flower stacks are used for. Luocha's talent counts up to 2 stacks of Abyss Flower. Once he reaches that number, Luocha consumes all stacks and deploys a healing field. This healing field functions like life steal. Attacking enemies while the field is active heals your attacking ally. Just like the rest of his kit, this heal too scales with Luocha's own attack. This healing field lasts for 2 turns and will disappear when Luocha gets knocked down. Keep in mind that while Luocha's field is active, he won't be getting any Abyss Flower stacks. After unlocking Luocha's Ascension for Trace, when an ally attacks enemy units, the rest of your team will get healed too, for a lesser amount. In other words, for 2 turns while Luocha's healing field is active, your entire team is effectively immortal. This talent, combined with Luocha's automatic emergency heals, make him a SP generating machine, especially if you're playing him at high speed. With his abnormally good SP generation potential, Luocha is a perfect sustain option for Danheng IL and other skill point heavy teams. After using Luocha's technique, his talent will be immediately triggered at the start of the next battle. After unlocking Luocha's Ascension 6 trace, his chance to resist crowd control debuffs increases by 70%. This trace is great because you don't want your Luocha to get stun locked and be unable to heal your allies. Let's talk about Luocha's Light Cone options now. Luocha's best in slot Light Cone is his signature Light Cone. It has a high base attack and its passive gives the wearer 24% attack. Additionally, for each different enemy target the wearer hits, they regenerate 3 energy. Each attack can regenerate energy up to 3 times this way. When the wearer uses their ult, all allies gain 12 speed for 1 turn. This Light Cone is perfect for Luocha because he gets so much attack from it, and that will increase his heals. It has good supportive capabilities because it gives your entire team speed and it also gives your Luocha some bonus energy. Bailu and Huohua's signature Light Cones are both good options for Luocha. Both of these light cones have high base stats, while Hua's light cone increases Luocha's energy regeneration rate, gives him more healing tools for his team and also gives his allies a good amount of attack after healing them. Bailu's light cone is in my opinion the worst 5-star option for Luocha, but it's still a good light cone. Its passive increases his max HP, which makes him a bit more tanky, and also gives him some outgoing healing bonus. It also has a passive which memorizes the wearer's heals and then deals a portion of that heal as damage to enemies. It's a nice little damage increase, but it shouldn't make a big difference. I'll now go over Luocha's free-to-play light cone options. Perfect Timing is a phenomenal option for Luocha. Its passive increases the wearer's effect resistance and outgoing healing. The outgoing healing bonus from this light cone scales with the wearer's effect res, so if you're planning to use this light cone you should try and get some effect res relic substats. Most of this light cone's value comes from its effect res passive. When doing MOC or other difficult endgame content, it's a big problem when your healer or sustain character gets CC'd, and this light cone makes your Luocha a lot less susceptible to crowd control. Another good thing about this light cone is its great synergy with the Broken Keel 2-piece relic set. When using Broken Keel you want to reach at least 30% effect res on your character, so that your entire team can get the bonus 10% crit damage, and the Perfect Timing light cone makes achieving this a lot less difficult. Post-op Conversation and Multiplication are two good free-to-play options for Luocha. Post-op increases Luocha's energy regeneration rate and outgoing healing. This light cone can allow Luocha to cast his ult more often and get his Abyss Flower stacks faster. Multiplication is a simple 3-star light cone, but it synergizes really well with Luocha's playstyle. It advances the wearer forward after they use their basic attack. With Luocha you will be using his basic attack most of the time, which means that you will get a lot of value from this light cone's passive. Also, the fact that it's a 3-star light cone makes it extremely easy to superimpose to level 5. Other 4-star light cones are all okay on Luocha, you can use them if you don't have any of the previously mentioned ones. For Luocha's relics, his best 4-piece option is the Musketeer set. The 4-piece bonus increases the wearer's speed by 6%, and speed is one of the most important stats for Luocha. It also increases his attack by 12%, which is good for his attack scaling kit and increases his basic attack damage by 10%. The basic attack damage increase is the least important part of this relic set, but it's a good little damage bonus because Luocha uses normal attacks so often. A good alternative is 2-piece Messenger with 2-piece Wandering Cloud. This way he will still get the 6% speed and also 10% outgoing healing bonus. If you don't have Wandering Cloud relics you can use 2-piece Messenger with 2-piece Musketeer. This will make Luocha's heals a bit weaker, but his personal damage will be better. 4-piece Wandering Cloud can be used, but I wouldn't recommend it. I think its passive effect isn't that good, unless you're maybe using Luocha in a team with Danheng Il and Bronya and you really need the bonus skill point. If you notice that your Luocha is way too squishy and dies a lot, then you can use 2-piece Messenger combined with 2-piece Guard, Knight or Disciple. These 2-piece sets give some good sustain stats which can help you keep your Luocha alive. Luocha's best planar ornament sets are Fleet of the Ageless and Broken Keel. Fleet increases the wearer's HP by 12% and also increases all allies' attack by 8% if the wearer has 120 or more speed. This 2-piece set is great because it makes Luocha a bit tankier and also gives your entire party a nice attack buff. You don't need to worry about reaching 120 speed, it's very easily achievable, just having 5-star speed boots will already be more than enough. This set can also be amazing on Luocha if you're using him in a dot team because dot units benefit from attack boosts. Broken Keel increases the wearer's effect res by 10%. Additionally, when the wearer's effect res is at 30% or higher, all allies get 10% crit damage. This set can work in any team except for .teams. Characters get no value from crit stats. Effect res is a good stat for Luocha because you don't want him to get CC'd. If you're struggling to get the required 30% effect res for the set bonus, you can use the perfect timing light cone on Luocha. It gives its wearer lots of effect res and has great synergy with broken keel. Now let's take a look at Luocha's relic stats. For his body piece, you should go with outgoing healing boost, or alternatively attack percent. For his feet, going with speed is the best option. Speed on Luocha is an amazing stat. It lets him give you SP with his basic attacks more frequently, and it also means that he will have his emergency heal more often. Attack percent is an okay alternative, but speed is much better overall. For planar sphere, you should use attack percent. This will increase both Luocha's heals and his damage. If your Luocha dies a lot, you can use HP percent or defense percent instead. For Luocha's link rope, energy regeneration rate is the best option. It will let your Luocha ult more often, which means that he will always have his abyss flower stacks and his healing field. ERR rope is also great if your enemies get buffed a lot or if they have an imaginary weakness. Attack percent rope is a fine alternative. If you're a Chad, you can play Luocha with a crit body and imaginary sphere and turn him into a DPS. For substats, you should prioritize speed and attack percent, but effect res, defense percent and HP percent can be very useful too. Luocha Z1 is a 20% attack increase for all allies while his healing field is active. This is, in my opinion, Luocha's second best Eidolon, and it's phenomenal in .teams. His E2 is a nice defensive upgrade for his skill. When Luocha uses his skill, if the target ally's HP is lower than 50%, Luocha gets an outgoing healing increase. If the target ally's HP is at 50% or higher, Luocha instead gives them a shield that scales with his own attack and lasts for 2 turns. His E3 increases his skill and basic attack levels. Luocha Z4 is another amazing defensive upgrade to his kit. When his healing field is active, enemies become weakened and deal 12% less damage. His E5 increases his ultimate and talent levels. E6 is his best Eidolon. It turns him into a harmony unit. When Luocha uses his ult, there is a 100% fixed chance to reduce all enemies' all-type res by 20% for 2 turns. Luocha Z1 and E6 are both amazing Eidolons, but he is perfectly fine on E0. You shouldn't feel pressured to pull for his Eidolons. He can be strong even without them. Finally, let's go over Luocha's best teams. Luocha can generally be used as the sustain unit in any team. He will do his job perfectly, but his best teams are the ones that use lots of skill points. His value in Danheng IL teams is incredible because Danheng melts your entire team's SP extremely quickly. He is also amazing in Bronya or Sparkle teams, because these two Harmony characters always want to use their skill to buff your DPS, and Luocha can compensate for the wasted SP. Be careful when building your Luocha team though, because he can have negative synergy with certain characters. Arlan is a good example, because he needs to be low on HP in order to deal more damage, and he won't be able to achieve that with Luocha in the team. This can also apply to the Secret Vow 4-star Destruction Light Cone, because if you have Luocha on your team, your characters will be near full HP most of the time, and your Destruction character with this Light Cone won't get the most out of its passive effect. This is the end of my Luocha guide. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm glad I got the opportunity to make a Luocha guide because I love his design and character, and I can't wait to see him in the main story again. Good luck with your pulls, everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.